We'll begin in the Bronx. The rivalry, the showdown, the New York Yankees against the Boston Red Sox, a prospect as scintillating as it is overwrought. But I gotta say, this is the perfect for a neutral. 3 games of this is the correct amount. 7, like a Yankees Red Sox 7-game set. I know it's good for business and would generate a lot of interest. I think by the end of it, I would need a nap. 3 games, get in and get out. Heck yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting. Obviously, we had the 1-game version of this a few years back, and we were lucky enough to be in the building at Fenway Park for that. But in this case, the Yankees will be the hosts, and they have an opportunity to, again, for much of this summer, it was like, oh no, this team, they just don't have it. I mean, for pretty much all of June and July, even though this roster still looked great and Aaron Judge was Barry Bonds, you're like, nope, it's not happening for this team. There's no way that this is a team that is going to go deep into October. However, even winning this one series, and this is true for any team that wins the wild card round, feels like the ultimate springboard to something more. And I think that is very much right there for the Yankees, and being able to do it against the Red Sox would be all the better.
I will briefly summarize the 2025 Red Sox season. What chaos. What madness. Just completely disorganized, all over the place. They trade Rafael Devers. They have him play DH, and then they they ask him to move to first, and he says, no thanks, I'm okay. They send him to San Francisco. They have rookies come up. There are injuries, and they battle through it all. And in the end, their path to October was relatively straightforward. They end up being the 5 seed, and they will head to New York to play the New York Yankees here tomorrow. Let's go through the projected starters as far as we possibly know. Game 1 is going to be Garrett Crochet against Max Fried. 2 left-handed aces squaring off in prime time. Game 2, Lucas Giolito against Carlos Rodón. Longtime friends of the program. Lucas versus Carlos in a playoff game on the night that Yom Kippur begins. Sounds like a bad bit we would do on a podcast in 2015. And then Brian Bayo against Cam Schlittler is the most likely setup for Game 3.
Yeah, and, I think the fact that, first of all, the Red Sox in general being back in the postseason, of course, Crochet is a new character, but all of these guys are new characters. Pop quiz, Jake. Do you know how many current Red Sox were on the roster the last time they were in the postseason in 2021 in the ALCS? In Garrett the roster. Yep. Any others? Well, if I wanted to make this a trick question, I would say 2: Garrett Whitlock and Alex Bregman, who played in the CS. But of course, that was not with the Red Sox. But otherwise, it is just Garrett Whitlock. I believe Connor Wong and Jarren Duran maybe appeared in that season. But this is just a completely different group. So, of course, Crochet feels fresh, and Giolito is a new guy. And, you have some of these rookies that we're maybe going to see, younger players. But just the whole Red Sox team, whereas the Yankees, outside of Max Fried and, of course, some of their rookies, we're kind of been used to seeing these guys in the postseason recently.
I think this whole series kind of hinges on Game 1, which is not, that's not reinventing the wheel. But Crochet is one of the best 4 pitchers on the planet. He is dominant. He is dominating. And even though I think the Yankees are the better team, and I think the Yankees will win the series, there is certainly a possibility, in fact, a high probability, that Crochet just storms into the Bronx and carves in this first game against the Yankees. And I think that will really dictate how things go from there.
Yeah, I think the other thing about this series, too, is, the Yankees have been playing well. They couldn't quite catch Toronto, but the Red Sox were, I think it was 9-4 against the Yankees this season. So, it's not like the Red Sox have had trouble with them necessarily. We've had some memorable matchups, particularly with Crochet, that we're certainly looking forward to. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the other characters, like the Red Sox that I'm thinking about, the player I'm thinking about is Alex Bregman. I just mentioned him before. This will be his 9th straight postseason. We'll get to the Astros missing the playoffs later, but Alex Bregman is going to be playing in his 100th career playoff game tomorrow.
Wow.
Which I believe is 7th all time, or maybe 8th all time. And this is just what he does. This is why they brought him there, because he knows how to get to the postseason. And while injuries kind of interrupted what looked like was maybe going to be like a top 5 MVP finish at the first half of the season, he is clearly still an extremely important part of this team, and also fits in the overall theme for these first 2 games in particular, which is the Red Sox right-handed hitters against the Yankees left-handed starters.
Yeah, I would say the player that I'm thinking about, and that's kind of along a similar line, is Carlos Rodón. Like, I have a lot of faith in Max Fried going out there and being Max Fried, right? And throwing 6 strong innings, allowing 1 or 2 runs, and keeping the Yankees close. That's what he does. Rodón is somewhat of a question mark. So this is year 3 for him in the Bronx. Year 1, catastrophe. Year 2, signs of progress, uneven playoff performance. Really horrible World Series start in game 2 that everyone forgets, because in our minds, the World Series ended when Freddie Freeman homered. Rodón then comes back this year, a very different pitcher. Added a sinker to his mix. He's throwing a lot more changeups. The fastball velocity is down, but he's been as effective as ever. He's going to get down ballot Cy Young votes, I think. ERA right around 3, made every single start this year. Can he do it in the playoffs? Can he do it in the playoffs against a Red Sox team that he's faced 3 times this year and frankly struggled against? And if you kind of want to design the path of how the Red Sox win, it's Crochet shoves and then Rodón poops his pants and the right-handed hitting bats just hop on him. Like, that's how this goes well for Boston. And I'll pivot now. You mentioned this before. Like, the thing that I'm thinking about, like, I'm thinking about Rodón, the player, and I'm thinking about, like, as a theme, those Red Sox right-handed bats against the lefty starters, right? And that's Romy Gonzalez and Rob Refsnyder, 2 guys who just face lefties and they crush them. And then you have Narvaez, Carlos Narvaez, the catcher, who's really good against lefties. Alex Bregman, really good against lefties. I'm fascinated to see how the Red Sox deploy, like, Nate Eaton and Nick Sogard if they get starts against the lefty. So that, to me, that is just such an important thing to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, Romy and Refsnyder are the whole thing. And I can imagine there's going to be, for the casual fan tuning into Yankees Red Sox, and they look at the lineups for these first 2 games, you'll be like, really? Like, these are the guys the Red Sox are doing? Like, this is outrageous. But their numbers are ridiculous. I mean, this is not just standard, oh, he's a pretty good platoon bat. There's a reason they have done this all year, and that's why that they're going to keep doing it. They're not going to suddenly change. You know, guys like Duran and Abreu is essentially unplayable against lefties. Duran is going to be in there, but he hasn't been very good against lefties. Yoshida, same thing. Will we see Nathaniel Lowe? I don't know, but it is funny that, and part of this is because of the injuries, because they don't have Devers, because they don't have Roman Anthony, because he's hurt. Yep. So some of this is just a response to the roster. But I think that for the most part, you know, that like this has worked for Boston, and so I would not expect them to suddenly change that.
Romy Gonzalez, 978 OPS this year against left-handed hitting. Like, yeah. Like all-star, like borderline MVP candidate. Right. When the pitcher throws with their left arm.
Yeah. And his like underlying stuff is nuts. His hard hit rate, his average exit velocity is like in line. It's not just like, oh, he's, you know, poking singles the other way against lefties, and that's why he's in there. Like, no, he is doing serious damage. No, we ended up picking the Red Sox. I know Alex Cora had a quote recently or whatever yesterday, like, nobody believed in us and whatnot. It's like, all right, dude, a lot of people were picking you to make the postseason. A lot of people were picking you to win the division. There was all kinds of hype. I don't know if he was saying like people counted us out after we traded Devers. I don't know if it was more specifically like everyone assumed we were just going in the other direction after that trade. But either way, yeah, people looked at the Red Sox talent and said like they're a pretty good team. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a tweet from Christopher Smith, who covers the Red Sox for Mass Live. Alex Cora, quote, "Let's be honest. Nobody thought we were going to make it to October when the season started. whoever says that, yeah, we were a playoff team, that's effing BS, to be honest with you. No one thought we were going to make it to October. It was New York, it was Baltimore, it was Toronto. Shade to the Rays. And we believed we were going to play in October. We set our standards every single day, and we hit our standards. I went back and looked at various outlets to see who picked what teams in the AL East. Every single writer here at Yahoo picked the Red Sox to make the playoffs. I believe they were the most popular pick to win the AL East at ESPN. I believe at Fangraphs, they had the highest number of votes to make the playoffs and to win the division. This is a classic example of they don't believe in us. Now, maybe did we believe in you less when you traded away the best player on your team? Yes, we did. And I think that that's very reasonable and rational to have lower expectations for the Red Sox after trading away Devers, but they did it. And I give them a lot of credit for that. There are a lot of holes on this team that concern me as they head into October. The lineup is good, not great. I think the gap between them and the Yankees is pretty substantial in that regard. Jordan, what is let's pivot back to the Yankees. What's one thing you're really thinking about for them?
I just think that it's kind of what I opened with. It's just the opportunity here to prove a lot of people wrong that said that. I mean, listen, there's a long way to go for them to get back to the postseason or back to the World Series, but still, this could a potential massive pitfall, very realistic. And just oh, yep, you just lose to Crochet and you lose to the Red Sox at home, and we're all laughing at the Yankees for similar but different reasons than last year, right? That's totally in play. Or you can be the better team, which you have been over the Red Sox for most of the season when you're not actually playing them, and we can wake up and be like, wait a minute, the Yankees are the best team in the American League. Of course. Okay, and everyone's going to be picking them against the Blue Jays, right? That's also very possible. So there's a pretty huge swing here that we are going to see over these next 72 hours.
I think it's important to remember in Yankee land, and this is true in Philly land too, but in Yankee land, the sky is always falling, right? The Yankees, I finished the season with the second best record in the American League, and so much of the year it was oh no, this team is a disaster. They're a catastrophe. Are they good enough? They led baseball in nearly every offensive category. Okay, this is probably the best lineup in the league. And it is very conceivable that they're just going to go out there and storm through the American League field and end up back in the World Series. I think that is a real possibility. Also because I think as currently constructed, this is the best roster in the American League. I know that the Jays won the division, and they deserve credit for doing so. They earned that bye. I'm not trying to, overlook them, but not having Bo Bichette is a big deal for them. The Yankees are healthy as they enter October. I think that is super important. I love the way that this team is set up. Let's make a pick.
So we did our official picks. You can see them all on yahoosports.com. We have our full predictions. I went back and forth on the Red Sox and the Yankees here. I do think Boston has a real shot, but I'll stick with the Yankees because, again, I do think that the talent gap is pretty significant. And I do trust Max Fried. I do trust Carlos Rodón. I do think that they can get the Crochet. I think that they do have enough offense to make it happen. We'll see how they do against Toronto. Maybe they don't get that far. I will go Yankees in 3.
Also, just compared to last year, when the Yankees lined up last year, was sneaky not that good. You know what I mean? That was one of the big things for that team, and they went to the World Series anyway. I mean, Ben Rice and Grisham just gives them so much more depth. I'm going to take them in 2. I think someone's hitting a big homer off Crochet. I think Fried keeps it close. My biggest concern with the Yankees is the bullpen. They have tried to Band-Aid it. David Bednar has been big in the closer spot. Devin Williams and Luke Weaver have struggled. Weaver has had a really bad September, as has Fernando Cruz. There are big names and big pedigrees in the bullpen, but it is not exactly a group that inspires confidence right now.
Yep, that is super valid, but it seems like we are both picking the Yankees, and you will be there to tell us all about it.